Today we're going to check out the Somatic universal media filters. What is going on, guys? Devin from ReefDudes. Now, I've been on the quest for a little while to find some very compact kind of media reactors. Most ones you see, they're huge. Like, there's these giant chambers, and you put that much media in it. So I'm like, that is a big waste of space. So I've been trying to find something that's kind of taller and skinnier, something fairly compact. I don't use a ton of media, but I do like to run a little bit of carbon and GFO once in a while. So I found these Somatic skimmers that I picked up, and figured I'd give you guys a bit of an unboxing review of them. So inside the box, it is got our instructions, we got a bunch of fittings, and we got the reactor itself. Now, one thing I'm digging about this, it does have the nice red scheme. It goes very well with my plumbing, so I'm kind of stoked for that. Straight off the bat, it actually looks very similar to a Two Little Fishies reactor. Super similar. It feels honestly a little bit more solid, but if you had a Two Little Fishies, I'd say it's very comparable to that, maybe a slightly better built version of it. I'm really digging the red and black color scheme. I think it looks great. Should match the tank nicely. The lid screws on. We got an O-ring inside. We got a plastic plate and 2 sponges inside. As for our connections, alright, so it comes with, we got a couple hose barb fittings, so you can use that to connect to, looks like 1/2-inch tubing. Some ring clamps, a couple elbows depending on how you want to position it. We got a flow valve, so we can use this to restrict our flow or input or output. These will hang on the side of your sump, so you could make this into a little Cheeto reactor, I'm sure. For me, it's just going to be, honestly, probably a little bit of carbon in it, and probably do another second one with a little bit of GFO. And we'll test it out and see how it goes. So let's get some media, let's get this filled and throw it in the tank and give it a good test. Per the instructions, the valve to restrict it needs to be on the intake. Now, the intake is this tube down the center. So we'll put a valve on here, one of the little rubber coupler hoses, and we will put in our barbed hose fitting. Next we'll put another one on the outtake, and then we're going to use one of these little kind of connectors. Now, just to make sure everything's nice and secure, we have these little plastic clamps. Now, these things are very handy, safety precaution. Okay, next we'll unscrew it and we'll fill it with some media. Now, different carbons do different things, so I am going to do a bit of a mix of, I have a few different random carbons, so I generally just like to mix them together. Has a sponge on the top just to keep it all secure, and we'll screw on the lid. Alright, so the tube down the middle is your intake. So it takes water in, it pushes it all the way down through the bottom, and it'll come back out the sides, and then it'll go through that sponge, trapping little particles, and through your output. For the next reactor, I'm going to set it up with a little GFO. Now with GFO, less is definitely more. I always turn the flow down very, very minimal GFO. Put our top cap back on. And screw a lid on. So the biggest attraction for me with these is they take up very little space. My current ones are pretty big. I'm trying to redo my sump, and I'm going to put the media reactors in the return pump. I'm going to do a big narrow chamber in the back of the sump. So these are going to take up much less space, and they're going to hopefully work with my new design. So it should be a great solution, and they're black and red, and they'll match my color scheme. So let's get these on the tank. So these guys do a pretty good job of hanging on the glass, so you could use these internal or external. Either way, it's going to work pretty well. So they are pretty compact. That's 2-inch bar on the side of my stand, and they only extrude out a bit past it, so I'm going to guess they're somewhere in the 2.5 to 3 inches. Maybe a little bit further with the spacing from the glass, but it should take up a lot less room hanging behind my skimmer. So let's get this cup off and we'll get these installed. Now I'm going to remove my old reactors first. I'll probably find a new home for these guys on a future project. Now, if you guys haven't seen these are my DIY reactors. I've been running these for probably close to 2 years now, and they've been working awesome, so definitely will be keeping these around for a future project as they've been great. If you guys want to know how to build them, I'll definitely pop a link at the end of this video to the build video on how to make your own DIY reactors. Alright, so the first one we got carbon. Now, it does tend to float a bit, so I'm gonna put a bit of salt water in. Add a little water to the GFO. That should allow them both to sink properly. Now, because mine are vertical right under my manifold, I think I'm gonna bypass using the valve that came with it, because I got valves right here, and just do a straight down hose. So this should free up a fair amount of space, and I've also got black tubing I've been meaning to swap to for a while now, because I have my refugium light here as well as this. You got a bit of algae in the tube, being clear, so this way it'll prevent any algae or anything from growing from inside the tube. Now, they have a pretty solid fit on their own. I don't imagine that really popping out on its own. Now, if there was any pressure, it's going to be on the way in normally, it'd be before this, but the valve's going to slow it down quite a bit. So these are really just added bonus for peace of mind. Let's come behind and go down there, but to start, I want to flush these out, so I'm going to leave them out to the side and flush it into a bucket, so it's going to kind of act as a bit of a mini water change as I set this up. I generally jump in the new water first. And I do this so that there's no drop in water level in the tank. I don't have to worry about turning off my pump. If I'm doing stuff inside of the tank, I can just keep sucking until I see the water drop down to the ATO level, then I know I'm good. Now with new reactor media, you always want to flush it first when I get all those particulates out of the water. There you go, so our carbon water's coming out. It actually looks pretty clear already, but we'll let it run for a minute regardless, as there's a good chance to sneak in a water change. Now that's probably about where I run my reactors at, just a little stream like that. So we'll let this run for a second while we turn on the GFO. Okay, now I got the GFO coming out. You can see there's a little bit of orangey tinge to the water, so again we'll let that run until it turns clear. Just to give you guys an idea, you can kind of see those little trickles coming out. That's about how much flow I run through my reactors. I don't want them flying through it. I literally just want a bit of a trickle, just as kind of bonus filtration. So we got the two new reactors installed. It was a pretty quick, easy process, and I absolutely love how skinny and small they are, and they match my color scheme, so it's pretty much win-win. So everything's installed and running. They take up less space and they look great, and I also love the match the color scheme, so that's an added bonus. Now if you guys have any questions about them, let me know. Otherwise, I'll put some links and information to them in the comments below. So hope you guys enjoyed that. If you did, hit that like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Now, if you guys want to check out the other side of life, I'm going to start posting to my personal channel as well, and I'll leave a link to that at the end of it. So I'm going to take you to a secret little trail called Narnia, so stick along for the ride.